Pressure.
I'm used to working with a lot of doctors and assistants. When people come in, there's usually a lot of people that walk in at a time while talking on the phone, calling insurance. I'm very used to wearing a lot of hats and changing course very rapidly multiple times a day. I'm good under pressure.
Good, because that building is definitely very chaotic, and we deal with a range of clients who are walking in, some being very acute and potentially experiencing some really intense mental health symptomology, and some who are very motivated and engaged and willing to kind of navigate that, and some people who are just there to access resources like taking a shower or eating a cup of noodles. So it can cause a lot of intensity throughout the day, and it is a very fast-paced environment.
Yeah, I'm used to that. I've been to medical school and I became a licensed massage therapist, so I'm very good at, being good under pressure, but having workplace, home balance. You gotta de-stress.
Yes, it's a big deal. How have you handled difficult patients or clients in the past?
I'm used to working with people who are in pain or on medication, so sometimes they can be crabby. And I just learned that showing some empathy, caring about them, making them comfortable in a judge-free zone is kind of the best way to go about helping someone overcome just negativity. But, I've been screamed at. It's just part of the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you prioritize several tasks with different deadlines?
Well, working in a multi-doctor office, I'm used to, calling insurance while being on hold, checking people in front of me while not forgetting about the person on hold, creating treatment plans. So I'm, doing a lot of tasks at the time I need to do. I always check in with my supervisor or doctor to make sure that I'm doing the task that needs to be done now. And I shift my attention very quickly. If something comes up that's not expected, I can very quickly change course. But I'm good under pressure. I'm great with detail orientation, and I type very fast.
How do you handle conflict in the workplace?
I just use empathy. On a team, you're going to have different personalities, people with different backgrounds. And I just try to find middle ground, if possible. If it's something I can't de-escalate myself, then last resort I do involve a supervisor. But for the most part, we just work it out. I call them growing pains. Yeah.
Can you describe a challenging situation with a coworker and how you handled that?
So I had a client that had a medical issue in the waiting room. So I and a coworker work together to call the person that they're not really a guardian, but somebody that brings them in for testing. And we called 911, got them in care with EMTs, got them on their way. It was pretty challenging while making sure that the people in the waiting room that weren't affected aren't having a full-on crisis, because visiting the doctor is stressful enough without a gurney going by you out the door. And it was just a rather complex situation. Luckily, my coworker kind of helped out because, I can't deal with the EMTs and there's no one at the front desk.
Right.
So we kind of helped each other. But it was pretty challenging. She had never done that before. But luckily, she was an RN and had a little bit. She did the vitals, and I made sure that everyone around and the people coming in were okay.
Can you describe your communication style and how you interact within a multidisciplinary team?
Well, I'm very loquacious. I've trained teams. I've been a leader. I run my own business. I'm very animated, but professional. I'm aware that a lot of people aren't, savvy with medical terms, so I try to use layman terms so everyone understands while, educating people. but I'm very talkative. I try to use my speech to empathize with people.